You know, we talked about this about a year ago when we started our podcast. Like our second or third video, we discussed. I pulled up this thing from Lending Tree, I think it was, and
Yeah.
it showed rates going up to as high as 8% in 2023, and
And
then
what
as
else?
high as 10% by like 2025.
You remember that, man?
And everybody thought we were crazy, and here we are. Rates are now going up again. Is it official they're going up again? Like
Not
have they?
official, but here. So let me drive it down. Let me drive it down to you. Ready? So yesterday we had the job reports come out. It came out twice the number of jobs were taken on board. Okay, than we expected. The payroll jumped 476,000. It was insane, over like 200 and something they expected. So almost twice the amount. That's a big factor that the Feds use to gauge, do they raise rates? We're going to slow inflation. Mr. Powell's come out and he has said, listen, based on our, we don't see the impact that we expected to see. So interest rates, are going to need to be higher in order to kind of slow down inflation. Man, my question is, Brian, are they out of their mind, dude? What the heck is going to happen to us? Because we're going to hit 7.5%, 8% by the end of the year, man. It's
Yeah,
tough.
they're obviously not like doing this in order to affect the housing market, or are they?
I don't know. All I know is that I'm drinking bourbon now. I don't know if you can see what's in there.
Yeah, right. So what do you think? Like, so what's your premise on why they're doing this, Tim? What's the reasoning to slow
Well,
down inflation? Is that still the?
so let me kind of give you the real story, right? So, and when we had the pandemic, the federal government came out. Basically, Federal Reserve said we don't want the economy to collapse. So, how do we stimulate the economy? We push a lot of money into the system. So, remember all those benefit checks you got, those bonus
Yeah, I didn't
checks.
get any of them because I
I
didn't
didn't get any
apply. But
either,
yeah,
but
did you
well,
apply though? You could have got them probably. No.
no, I'm not going to be dependent on the government, dude. You know what?
Yeah,
I'd
me
rather
neither.
drive my old pickup truck and just get
Yeah,
rocking
because you
and rolling.
could have gotten it, right? You could have.
I could have
I
got.
could have.
I couldn't guess, but I'm not going to get PPP, whatever the hell checks they were,
Right.
that kind of craziness. But here's the key, Brian. So the government's pumped a lot of money into the system, and when you pump a lot of money in the system, everybody's got cash. Everybody then uses their cash to buy things. By buying things, it causes the prices to go up because more people want to buy these things, and overall, you have high inflation. So that's what's happened in a nutshell. And so now they've got to retract that cash, retract the money supply, stop printing all these bills. The way you do it is you put the brakes on the economy. You put the brakes on the economy by raising rates. Now, concerns, big concerns. Ready? Number one, impact on the banks and the bank's liquidity and capitalization. We talked about this before. We had a couple banks go under, right? If the Feds keep raising the rates, they raise the cost of money to the bank. In turn, the banks then are less profitable. They don't have enough capital. People pull their money out of their deposit accounts, and overall, you got more banks failing. That's a major issue. That's a reason for later cuts. Number one. Number two, recession. I don't know about you. I went to Walmart the other day, and it's crazy to get groceries. I went down, and the reason why is because Sheets had a sale on gasoline. I don't know if you saw that or not. $1.77, $1.78, I think is what I paid in Virginia. Okay, I filled up my tank, filled up a couple tanks. I'm like, the heck with
Let me
this.
ask you a question, Tim. So
Yeah.
you went to Virginia just to get the gas? Is that what
Well,
it was?
I went to the Walmart down there. I like the Walmart in King George. Just not
Okay.
crowded.
So you live in La Plata. Now, what is the cost to get over the bridge for you? Because you probably have the Easy Pass.
Yeah, $4.
$4.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So, how long did you wait in line
So
to
so
get
let's
the
let's do
gas?
that. So I went to Walmart. I saw the gas price. I was like, what the heck? $1.07. I was like nuts. I was like, it's not $1.77. 17.76 what it was. I was like, whoa, dude. I told my wife, I said, you know what? We're gonna hit this July 4th. Okay. We're
No,
gonna
I
hit.
get it. I thought about it, but then I'll tell you why I didn't even. I
Oh, I
only
know
thought about it
why.
for 1 second.
So I went to Walmart, did my shopping. That's what we're coming back to the equation, right? Got just basic groceries. How much was my basket? How much did I
Your
spend?
basket of groceries.
Yeah,
How many
basket.
people are you buying for?
My wife and myself.
For how long?
Well, we buy
For
necessities.
like a month or a
Well,
week or?
we're gonna buy. We bought like honey. We bought things that are gonna last us longer. We didn't buy just like we're gonna eat that week, right?
I feel like I'm shooting in the dark. $150.
$384. Okay. Yeah. 5 years ago, $180 all day long. Brian, things are expensive, man. I bought these little traps, these little moth traps. Every now and then you get like moths and whatever because and
Yeah.
dude, they were like $8 a pack, and I'm like, what the heck's going on? Okay, so interest rates going to come down because inflation. That's how you stimulate the economy. Because of the banks, number two, because we've got a presidential election coming up. But it's hairy. I got clients right now who, I'm quoting 7.25 fixed 30 years.
All right, let's go back to the story though. So you leave Walmart with your $380 in groceries,
I decided
and then you see a line all the way down 301, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna get in this line.
So no, I said, you know what?
I'm gonna get some of my $380 back.
I said it's near dinner time. Everybody's gonna go to fireworks. It was like 6:30. I said, let's go to El Dorado's and get some Mexican fajitas. I got fajitas, right? At 7:30, everybody's going to fireworks land. I go over, my line is 4 cars. Dude, it was nothing.
All right, I'll give you that.
Now watch. Let's even go back. Let's get worse. You ready? So I get my gas. I'm like, okay. My gas bill, ready? For 24 gallons of gas. How much was my gas bill? 24 gallons.
Times $1.77, Tim.
Yeah, exactly right. $42. $42 for 24 gallons. How much did I save? $42. Because I would have paid $350, $360 over here all day long.
Okay.
Just saying. You know what?
I get it, man. You saved $40, and that's a lot. That's a decent amount of money. Like, yeah. I get it. My car takes premium, and it's like a 25-gallon tank. So I probably.
By the way, it was $1.77 for all grades. They just ran.
Yeah,
out.
I could. Well, I heard they burned out a premium immediately. Like I would have saved probably $70 or something. It would have been. But the question I had was, how long are you willing to wait in line? Like, I'll tell you the thing that always drives me crazy. I go to Costco all the time.
Yeah. Oh,
and I see these lines at Costco in Brandywine that are 7, 8 cars, and it's 7, 8 cars across 7 lanes.
Yeah.
So it's there's 50 cars, 100 cars, and it backs all the way out into the street, so that it's blocking traffic. And I'm thinking to myself, how much money are you saving at Costco gas? 20 cents?
Dude,
you're getting and people don't even get all the way to E. Maybe they're getting 20 gallons. What are they saving? $4? So how long are you going to wait in line to save $4? I'd wait to save $40. I actually fill my boat up with gas cans and bring them to my boat because I save $1, almost $1.75 a gallon. Which, if you got an 80-gallon tank, that adds up.
Dude, it adds up really bad, man. So let's go backwards. Let's kind of talk about that. So yeah, I go to BJ's down here in Waldorf, okay? And literally the other day,
you're one of those guys, Tim.
I know, I am.
You wait in line for 40 minutes. Now let's do a little math with Tim. And I don't want you to answer this question, but let's just take how much money Tim makes for a living, and then we'll divide it by however many hours it is, and we'll come up with an hourly rate. I'm going to say it's over $100 an hour. And then you ask yourself, you're waiting in line for 25 minutes to get gas to save $2.
No, okay, first of all, I'm waiting in line for 5 to 10 minutes. And what am I doing, Brian? I am working on my computer. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing.
That's true.
I'm working on my note. I'm going through this. I'm making my calls, handling all the things I got to do. I'm like, okay, I got that one done. I got that one done. What do I need? And dude, that's what I'm doing, man. So I agree, and then I'm writing notes down, and I'm thinking about things.
That's true. I forgot we work from our phones, so we're never really waiting. Because even when I have to wait for an hour, it's good. I can get some work done.
And I normally save $5 to $6 again every time I fill up.
From BJ's, you save $5 to $6
because I use my BJ membership. Okay, number one. Okay, so membership card is huge. And then number two, I use my BJ's MasterCard. So now
you like doing that stacking, Tim.
Yeah, dude, I'm stacking the chitlins out of it, man. So I'm looking at it from that perspective and saying to myself, okay, how can I save 35 cents a gallon? All day long, Brian. All day long. You know what I mean? That's
I get it, man. I'll tell you, my next door neighbor used to take a bath in the bathtub, and he was like in his like 80s, 70s.
I'm glad he was in charge of his hygiene. Okay, where are we
And
going?
then his wife would take a bath in the same bath water.
They were on a well, Brian.
Exactly.
There's no extra water being. I mean, there's no
And,
extra.
and then they would take the water out of the bathtub and put it in buckets and carry it into the garage. You want let's play a game. What do you think they did with the water?
They used it to flush the toilets.
No. That would be wasteful. So they have the water in the double bathtub water in the buckets. They then had their washing machines in the garage, and they would put the water into the washing machine to wash their clothes.
Okay,
And then,
were they on a well?
and then what, Tim? And then what?
And they took the water.
And
from
took the
the
water
machine
and did what with it?
flushed the bath.
No. Then they put it in more buckets. What do they do with it now, Tim?
I don't know, Brian. I'm very worried.
Put
now.
it back in the washing machine to wash the clothes again.
It did not, Brian.
Did. Okay.
Oh, what are they doing,
And then back into the buckets, Tim.
Brian? First of all, what I gotta ask you: were you raised in India? Or were
No,
you
man,
raised-
and this is my next door neighbor. And then he put it back into the buckets, and then he carried the buckets out into the garden and watered his plants with the
know what?
twice bathtub, twice laundry water.
I respect that, dude. I
Do
I
you, though?
do.
I
I
don't.
respect that. No,
I
okay.
don't.
So let's get to a point in time where there might be a time in our lives when water becomes such an amazing.
It's not, Tim. It's not. You just dig a hole and you suck the water out of it. So here's what I would do. I would go over to his house, and I would tell him that, and this is true. I did do this when I went on vacation. I accidentally left because I had a garden hose running like two of them together through the woods into my neighbor's. Or I had like a field that I was using as a garden, and I put like three hoses together. It was like 200 feet,
Yeah.
and I was watering the garden. And I went on vacation and forgot. So I used to tell him that I was going to suck his well dry because we were neighbors. This is the guy that's like twice bathing in the water. He's trying to save the water or the money on the. I think it's the money on the electricity on the well pump.
Trying to save the earth.
No, he's not. He's trying to save the electricity on the well pump because he would tell me how his electric bill was like $72.
Wow.
And then I would tell him how I was going to water everything and suck all the well water out of his well and dry his well out. And he would get furious at me.
And we wonder why we have gun violence. We're talking about it.
So, yeah, so you know what else he used to do? He used to go to the landfill with a battery meter, and he would test all the batteries. And then he would, because some people would throw away batteries that aren't 100% gone. I guess it like tells you if there's any like life left in them.
Yeah.
He'd bring the battery back to his house, and he would like put it on a battery charger and try to bring it back to life. Then he would take it over to the Amish and trade them the battery that he brought back to life in order for them to give him like hay for his horse.
Wow, that is awesome, man.
I don't respect that, Tim.
Well, you know what? And let me ask you this: and if you had very little money, and
He didn't have very okay. So here's the other thing. So I could tell you stories all day long. He had a Air Force retirement and a retirement from another job. Never cashed one of the checks.
What do you mean?
Like they all went into his bank. So he told me that his like accountant told him that legally he had to start taking some of the money out of the bank, but he never cashed any of the checks. He lived so frugally that both of his retirement checks, he never touched one of them. They just went into the bank, and then he died, and all the money's sitting in the bank still, never touched.
Yeah.
He hoarded it all up.
Yeah.
But that's not really the reason why I didn't respect it. I'll tell you the other reason why. The thing that irritates me about this, and again, I'm not the most fiscally responsible person. This is not financial advice. Don't take all my advice. However, I have a particular thought in my mind, and Tim, you're on both ends of the spectrum, Tim. So you can tell me your philosophy here, okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Some people focus an exorbitant amount of time on saving money. My neighbor being one of them.
Okay.
Okay. Some people like I'm gonna actually just say like both of us focus a fair amount of time on learning how to make money.
Correct.
If you had to set a race like the tortoise and the hare and run this over time,
Okay.
who ends up on top? I suggest that let's just take time. I suggest that if you take a fraction of the amount of time that you use to try to figure out how to cut coupons, sitting in line, at the gas station and everywhere else, and you tried to figure out how to increase your income, you would be far, far ahead than the person who is focused on trying to get by on as little money as possible.
Okay. I mean, I think it's a balancing act.
Okay.
I think you've got to recognize. I mean, maybe I'm wrong here, but we've got to recognize how much money we have. Number one, right? Okay, which is to me is critical. And then number two, we have to live within our means. A lot of people make good money, but they don't live within their means.
That's all true. And again, there's a spectrum. There's but you're actually both. Most people are one or the other. They make a lot of money, spend it all, or they don't really have a lot of money and they save string. Do you save string?
I don't save string.
What about tinfoil? Do you save tinfoil?
I don't save tinfoil. No.
All right. So you're not on that far end of the spectrum.
Not yet. Yeah.
Okay. So if you had to like sort of come down one way or another, like you're going to be forced to either make less money or you're going to have to spend more money. What are you going to do? Like, Tim, listen, you're going to have to start spending 20% more on whatever, luxury items, or you're going to have to make more money. What are you going to do?
I'm trying to make more money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, but that's my drive. That's who I am. I'm constantly out there just kind of brainstorming. But you know that. I mean, that's, a lot of people, they get stuck in this black hole and they're like, oh, what am I going to do? How am I going to survive? My philosophy is, look, if you get stuck in the black hole, then your perspective is going to be so limited, right? So we've got to move away from that limitations. Instead, turn our focus around and say, you know what? Scrap this whole idea. I'm not going to be limited by my limiting beliefs that I don't have so much money. I'm going to instead grow more money by working harder and smarter. But I'm also going to be cautious, and I'll give you a fun illustration about how much money I spent. So, yesterday, my wife, unfortunately, we had a hose. It had a leak in it, and she says, "Hey, do we need to buy a new hose?" And I'm like, I don't know about getting a new hose. I know this is crazy to tell you, but it's got a little leak.
It depends on where the leak is.
I got like 300 feet down to the chicken coop. Okay.
Okay. So you can cut the hose and put in two.
Well,
and you can get the
connectors cost about $6. I'm like, $6. And then I said, you know what? The greatest creation on earth, other than 7-Eleven, because we know that's a little bit of heaven, right? So greatest creation on earth, let's face it, duct tape. So what did I do?
It depends on if you have pressure on the hose. If you nozzle off the other end of the hose, that's not going to work. If you're just running water through it,
it's nozzled off, and I've got this baby tight, and I've got like 6 feet of duct tape. I lose a little water to the environment. I'm okay, and I'm turning the water off and on when I'm going back and forth. But is that or spend $54 and then pay taxes on the hose? Come on now, you know where I'm at.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm torn here, Tim, because I get it. I'm not going to go buy a premium hose to run it down to a chicken coop. But the hose that I have in the front of my home is one of those black rubber, high end, like it doesn't kink easily. It's like a fire hose material.
I'm with you.
But if I'm running it to the chicken coop, I actually do have like 3 or 4 old hoses laying around.
Exactly. So back to the story. Let's rewind all over. The feds. What are they doing, Brian?
They're trying to make up for all this because our money is, like you said, the thing is, if they raise rates long enough, what'll happen is your grocery store trip won't feel as burdensome.
So
that's the goal.
They're raising rates. They're going to try to bring inflation down, curtail inflation by curtailing our spending. It doesn't mean that there's not opportunities out there. I mean, just like buying a house, I'd still buy today. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter, because I think when the feds finally do start cutting the rates in 12 to 18 months.
Everybody keeps saying that, Tim, like, oh, just buy a house, refinance later. I say, listen, I'm not sure. Here's the issue that I have, and this is the thing that people just don't understand. I bought my first house. I got a 7% interest rate. I thought it was the greatest. I went home and I did that little dance to my parents, like, no. What's your rate? Mine's 7. Ha ha ha.
Right.
And theirs was like 9. And I was like, guys, you need to refi. Like, they're 7 now. It's great.
Wow. Yeah.
So Dad bought a house on the water in 1984 for $134, like $134,000 in Solomon's Island. So the thing is, my house when I bought it in 2000 cost $127,000.
Right.
It's like the cost of things is different. It's not just the rate that's a problem; it's the cost of the house itself is the problem. Not only are you paying an exorbitant rate, but you're also paying a premium for the house, and that's where the comparison to the total payment you're making every month in relation to the size of the home and the quality of the home that you're living in, I think is now becoming disproportionate. Now, at the end of the day, it's like, let's go back in time, okay? Let's go back 200 years. Let's zoom out, and we're going to finish up with some perspective. Back in the day, you had to slave all day, and only up until like America was there even a situation where you got to own your land and you were completely like autonomous to do whatever you want. Because even in England, it was the feudal system. Like, you had to work for a lord, and you like half your money went to them, and then even then you had to buy everything from them. Like, people were never thriving. So nowadays we're talking about like it theoretically could be, you know, your after-tax income somewhere in the neighborhood of 50% of your money for somebody could be their house. That's real, you know. But at the same time, like, what are you getting? You're getting an actual house that has all of this. Back in the day, nobody had houses. They had like grass huts. You're getting bit by snakes and mosquitoes and malaria, which is now in America, apparently. All of that was real. So I feel like, big picture, we're still fine, man.
Well, and so bottom line is this, Brian, and I got to close it out with this one thought. You ready? There was a study done during the recessions in 1978, one of the biggest recessions we ever had. And they showed that on average, in the next 5 years, house prices went up 159%. People did not stop buying homes. So my point to you is, when we cycle back and rates do come down and there's a surge in people buying homes and all the baby boomers decide to finally get out of Dodge and retire, and you see the inventory going up, it's going to be a different world, man. So
it is.
I think it's going to happen, Brian. I really do. You got to stay focused, man. You got to keep the vision. You know what I'm talking about?
I do. I don't, but I do.
Well, remember, if you ever need to get a little piece of heaven, that's right. It's
go to 7-Eleven, brother.
All right, man. Brian, always good to see you, sir.
Thank you, Tim.
Man, no problem. Talk to you soon.